Okay. Intros are always the hardest. I never know what to say. Except hello, and I'm sweating to death because I'm in my bathroom. Part of. And I can't see because this stupid window. But, I had to come in here because my dogs keep barking at stuff. For some reason, well, we have rain and thunder, and they just bark at it. The thunder, they'll bark at it. So, somebody actually emailed me. I think that I forgot to cover email. Anyway, long story short, if there's one, this person seemed a little bit, there we go. Hey, Jackson! This person seemed a little bit argumentative about it all. I guess just looked at my video, or a couple, I don't even know, and is like, I don't know, I just talk about everything, because all you can do is put yourself out there. So, this person says I mentioned God. I have. Of course I have. You know, look, my landlord is atheist. My ex is Hindu. Me, okay, I'll tell you that story in a second. This person says, you really cannot mix in religion with depression or all these other things you're talking about that you have. And I'm thinking, but that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people, I never wrote back, actually, but I may and say, okay, yeah, that's your opinion and you're entitled to it. But, again, when you're feeling depressed, a lot of people pray. I mean, like when you have a, say you've never prayed ever, and you're having a real bad down and out moment, that seems to be the point people go, oh God, I promise, and they're praying, I promise that I'll never ever do that again if I just get through this or survive. They're for real. They're not joking around. They want to get through something. That's a prayer. You could pray anywhere. I could pray in my bathroom. I could pray in the line at the grocery store. So I hope that person sees this because I'm really confused by it. It's a very personal decision, and I have been all around the map when it comes to religions. I've learned about the Hindu religion through my ex. I've learned about atheists with my landlord. It's a little hard for me to, but that's okay. It's funny because he doesn't believe in God, but when he says, oh God, I'll say, why do you say, oh God? You don't even believe in God. Yeah, we just kind of have that going on. And that's okay. But when it comes to depression, panic attacks, agoraphobia, any illness, cancer, let's just throw all the illnesses in the world in, or anything traumatic that you're going through or living with. I think that's usually when the time comes when people say, I need help. Let me start praying, or let me. I want to believe in something. I don't know. I don't know, because I always believed in God since I was a little girl. A higher being. I met a friend years ago. She's no longer my friend because they moved on. We lost track, but she was a good friend. She was a Jehovah's Witness. I knew nothing of that religion except. She would come over with her pamphlets and books, and it was called a study, and we did a study, I think, once or twice a week. And we're going back, and I completed every book, what's it called, Watchtower magazine, and learned all about the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, I was agoraphobic back then, and I was having panic attacks. Worse than my anxiety is now, but I was having, the anxiety wasn't that bad is what I mean. And if there's an echo, I'm sorry. God, man. Anyway, I was having panic attacks and I was agoraphobic at the time. And I told her this, and she said, don't worry, just believe in, God. And God has a name, Jehovah, because it's Jehovah's Witnesses, or Yahweh. Went through all that, and okay. I mean, what, really, what have you got to lose? And I was desperate and I was afraid. So, and I was raising a baby, really. So I had to jump on that bandwagon and help myself. Why not give it? And I always felt better when I was around animals. She had 2 little white Maltese. Still, it's an animal. 2 dogs. And she would come over when we got through the books, and I was learning a lot about, how this religion works. And if this religion really works, if it's out there and it really is true, I want to jump on that bandwagon. Because I would love to live on earth with no disease, illness, fighting, live in my own home, not pay rent, plant a garden, have my horses, heck yeah, I'm down for that. I'm going to say that right off the bat. However, everything sounded good except this is one part I was struggling with. They don't believe in taking in blood in their body of any sort. And I remember saying to her, well, what if you end up in a car wreck and you end up in the hospital and you need blood or something? She says, we don't take it. I said, well, what if you're not talking? What if you can't talk? What if you're almost dead and they give you blood? She said, not a will, but whatever they have, it's already, the hospital should abide by it. Okay, that's where I struggled. That was where I hit a brick wall and said, I have depression. I'm agoraphobic really bad, and I have a lot of issues, mental issues. She says, we can take care of all that. And I said, but if, you are telling me though, if I need medical treatment, there's one thing I can't do, and that is take in blood if I need it. And she says, yeah, it's unclean. I didn't like that. And I don't think if there's a God in heaven, that's not the God that I want to know. I believe that God would want you to survive any way you can. Because God has nothing to do with my agoraphobia. This is all me. God has nothing to do with my panic attacks. God has nothing to do with my anxiety. God has nothing to do with PTSD. This is not God's doing, and this is not for God to just say, oh, God, look at her. She struggled so long, let me take it away. Here's what I believe. I'm a little off course right now, but here's what I believe. I believe that when I pray, I also have to become proactive with that prayer. And if I have a down day and a bad day, it's okay. It's kind of like I got a bad haircut because it was real long and now it sucks. But anyway, that's what I believe. It's not, I don't know. I've been all around the map with, like I said, with religions. And there's one thing I've learned to this date now, not way back. God don't take your life today. Like, my mother was always infamous for saying, well, when God takes me home, God takes me home. And I would sit there, wouldn't say anything to her because it was her belief. God don't take you home. God gave life and wants us to live. And I hate talking religion with depression. It seems kind of weird, but it's who I am, so I'm going to do it. So we went down that road. And I skipped over that and said, if I ever end up in the hospital, I think that's something I'm going to have to break. Because I want to live. I need blood. I'm taking blood. Sorry. It's just the way it goes. Okay. We got through. I didn't say anything to her. We kept on and kept on. Then it came to the part where she wanted to work with me. And that was driving. And that was when the dogs came in, her 2 little Maltese. Because I had a big dog. I had a pit bull. Who was not going to drive in the car with her. He was a little touch and go with aggression. So we drove with her little dogs, and she knew my cutoff point, which was down the road, and I could tell she was getting frustrated. And I thought, these people are supposed to be God's people, and they're supposed to be so good and understanding and helpful to others. She was there to help me learn their religion. So she should be there to be understanding and come on. Not everybody, you know, she was a hairdresser. Yeah, she had beautiful blonde curly hair and tall and thin, and I was right there with her. I mean, she adored my hair, I adored her hair. But she was older than me, and she was extremely attractive and married to an idiot. I'll get on to that one. Little frustrating, but she kept on trying. She never gave up on me. She did not give up on me. And we did start extending a little bit. You see that stop sign down the road? She'd say, let's just hit that and turn around. Okay. And pet the dogs, talk to the dogs. You won't even know it. Okay. And it worked. She was right. She was right. But I never made it to my destination. And it's hot in here. I never made it to my destination, which was the, what does the Jehovah's Witnesses call their place? It's not a church. A hall or something. I don't know. I can't remember. But I never made it to the destination because it was many miles away from my home. A very busy road to get there, but I did try. And I tried and I tried for like 6 or 7 months. Close to a year, I remember trying. Her husband, I remember his name, Mark, he came over one day with her. And he's like, you know, I haven't seen you there. We'd love to see you there. There's some people that want to meet you. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And it started out all really good, the conversation between he and I. In my home yet, my apartment. And then, because I had an apartment with my daughter. And then he just kind of flip-flopped around. He's like, I don't know why you can't do this. You got God on your side. And I'm like, because it's me. It's in my mind. He says, well, then you just, you know, you need to change your mindset. And this stuff started flowing again that I've been hearing most of the time I've been agoraphobic and had depression and all that. And he was not helping. He was making it worse, and I was young, quite a bit younger. He was agitating me. I was getting agitated, and I was really starting to feel depressed. And like my self-worth was really going down quick. So I don't remember his exact words, but he said something to me that was really uncalled for, about how I'm just a time waster or something to that effect. And I remember I started to cry because I'm not a time waster. I really had what I have. And I remember her, Kim, and she's just like trying to shush him up and apologize, and he wouldn't stop. He would not stop. And they left, and she called me a few times. I never answered the phone. She stopped by my apartment, knocked on the door a few times. My dog barked. I never answered the door. I was done. I was done. Because that's not how you treat people who you're trying to help. She really could have shut him up. She could have asked him to go wait outside or just leave. He pulled up in his car. They didn't come in the same vehicle even, because her and I were supposed to go driving. Leave, whatever. But she didn't do any of that. So I see where she was getting a little aggravated with me as well. And I thought, okay, religion and somebody with mental illness, I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying they didn't get it. They didn't get it. You're supposed to make it there. Have faith in God. Believe in God and you're going to be fine. And you know what? Deep in my mind, I know that if I drive there, I'm going to be fine. Give it that much. I'm serious. Nothing is ever good, because I've run the gauntlet of every feeling, emotion, breakdown, wanting to run, did run, jumping out of cars, you name it, for people who didn't understand, didn't know what I had, and just started, yeah, we're gonna go driving. Whoa, turn around. I need to get back. And I always had an excuse, and the ones, I remember there was a time somebody didn't stop, and as soon as we hit a red light, I jumped out. I got out. They turned around and took me home. And we never saw each other again. So that was a date that was never going to happen. Because he just like, well, I don't know why she jumped out of my vehicle, you know. But hey, I wasn't ready to tell him exactly what was going on with me. It's not the first thing you say. Hi, my name is Anna M, by the way. I can't travel anywhere with you. And I battle depression where I don't want to get out of bed sometimes. Yeah. And I have anxiety when I go into a grocery store and, you know, I got to have my list on my phone or something and get in, get out, while everybody else is just dilly-dallying around looking and, you know, like the Stepford Wives kind of thing. It's not me. Because I can't. So, then I got into Wiccan. Because I love nature. So I felt there was a bit of a calling there for me. Nature always makes me feel better. Buildings do not. Like this building, houses, buildings, development around me actually drags me down and makes me feel sick, because along with more development comes more people, comes more issues and problems. So nature makes me feel good. My backyard where nobody can go but me, my dogs, if I want them out there, that's even nature under my bamboo with the birds, and there are snakes, and there's everything, and it feels phenomenal. But there's nothing like nature, because we have taken a nature walk before, my ex and I, a long time ago, and it wasn't a far one, but it was really nice on a dirt path. It still exists here. Part of it. They did some developing on most of it. It's not what it was. So, yeah. Sadly. My go-to is nature, so I started looking into The Spiritual Home. It's a real good book. And I started looking into, you know, Wicca itself and reading, and it sounded so much like me. I love animals. I'm not too keen on bats, never have been, because as a child we had a barn in our backyard up north in Pennsylvania, and one did actually fall down on me. I think it was a baby. It landed on me and I flipped out, and it scratched the hell out of me. But I never went for rabies shots or anything, just that happened. So I'm not keen on them, and I don't care for raccoons. But would I kill them or hurt them? No, absolutely not. Just, they're not for me. I used to not like possums until I realized that their main diet is ticks. Ticks. Because I got a lot of them around here. So eat up the ticks, guys. Have fun. Yeah, I don't want my dogs killing them. So, none of them. A fight with a raccoon would be pretty bad for my standard schnauzer with one, although he's very aggressive. He'd get... Raccoon will tear you up. Anyway, off track. Okay. Nature. Animals. Water. I don't like the sun. Because when I first moved here, I enjoyed the beach too much and I had a skin cancer removal. I said, oh God, are you kidding me? Really? Okay, because I'm light skinned and stuff, so happens. Had that removed. Never again. Not big on the sun at all. I like it when the sun's going down and the night is starting to fall. Nighttime's coming in. That puts me in my element before it gets dark. I feel really peaceful. I love that. So nature was calling me, I think, in many ways. But then I had a problem once I started reading, and I have a friend, and she has the altar in her house, and she's big time. She's Wiccan. And they hate to be called witches, by the way. So when studying, I was solitary in the beginning and learning in books, because when you go online and you read this stuff, look, I'm going to tell you something right now. I am not afraid of dead people and ghosts, because I have no space in my mind that's already crowded with depression, anxiety attacks, panic attacks, agoraphobia, and some PTSD. There's no room in my brain to lay in bed and go, what was that? It's a ghost. No, it's not. It's probably a real person trying to break in. It's the people that are alive that I'm worried about. It's not the dead people. Where do you find peace? You find peace in a cemetery. There's nobody there. Peace in the cemetery. Seriously, I used to have picnics in a cemetery. It was great. I rode my horse when I had my horse years ago through a big cemetery. It was just, wow. Nobody wants to be in a cemetery, but I do. I'm not dead, but to go through. Peace, okay? Yeah. So, off track again. Nature, me. I don't, we drive, we do our best with me, and there's a big apartment building and a big Hilton or Radisson or something being built down the road. Huge. They're both huge. I'm like, oh man, how many more people? They're just bringing in tons of people. They're both huge. They're bringing in tons more people, and they're taking away our grasslands with our horses and our cattle, and yeah, that doesn't work for me. It makes me very depressed. That is depressing to me, to drive down the road and say, they once had horses right there and I'd stop and pet them, and now it's a mall. So I started reading. I was solitary and reading about Wicca, had the books, still have the books, got involved in it, got into it, and then I just couldn't. Man, winter's winter, spring is spring, summer's summer, fall is fall. Why rename them all? I don't know. It's a good rhyme. Why rename them all? I don't know. Why? I don't know. That's their thing. God and goddess? No, I'm sorry. I'm female, but I don't believe in a goddess. No, I believe in God. A creator. Because this is creation. We create. We build. We're creating every day. So there's creation, there's evolution going on. It's all happening. But there's a lot of creation going on every day. So we're creating new things every day. So who am I to say there is or there is not a God? My personal belief is there is a God. So Wicca was more of like living in the now kind of thing, because it made me feel good. You know, like I like candles. Burn a candle is peaceful. It really is. Sit back with your animals, because the majority of people who do animal rescue are Wiccan. Nobody knows it because they don't advertise it. They don't say it because everybody thinks they sacrifice animals, and everybody gets it wrong and thinks that they actually worship the devil, which really they don't. So until people get more educated, there's always going to be that stigma with that. And again, I had an issue, and that's me. I just had a problem with, and they say you can tailor it to your beliefs, which means I could pretty much make up my own religion, right? So I can believe in just a God and not a goddess. I could just skip all through that. I don't have to believe in all these other things out there and names. You know, still call it winter and all that. So let me just put it this way. In Catholic, I couldn't do that. That's why my landlord's an atheist, he said, because he was raised Catholic and they were hardcore on him. So, and I lived next to a Baptist church, and they weren't that bad because I didn't have to go. I just chose to go to get involved in the activities when I was a little girl. It was fun. But I grew up believing in God. I don't know how I really found God. I think on my own, because I believe there is something more out there than just us. Why would I believe there's just us? That's kind of, to me, in my opinion, idiotic for me to think there's just this people and what we see, but nothing else out there anywhere on any planet somehow, some way. You know, it's kind of like the wind. It's out there. You can't see the wind, but you can feel it, and it's out there. Air, yeah, it's the same thing. It's out there, but you can't see it. So it's not impossible. It's very possible. I believe that we can mix bring our religion in to help us fight the hard fight instead of feeling like we're alone. Although you'll never see God in, again, my belief system. You never see, just there. And not saying I expect this cure from God, because I'm suffering and I want to be like other people. I believe that once I pray, no matter where or when, just pray, and there's no right or wrong way. Just do it. And then after you pray, you have to put some work in with it. You can't just pray and say, now I'm going to sit back and wait and see what happens. You can't do that. It doesn't work that way. Nothing works that way except putting in a resume and seeing if they call you. You can't just give your car gas and say, okay, car, you do the rest. I gave you the gas. Car's not going to stop on its own. So that is one of my biggest things with, I've been through that, and I thought about that, because cleaning out books, because I just have too much junk, too much stuff, and I just cleaning through books and saying, hey, I remember that, and I remember that, and I still have about 20 or 30 of my Jehovah's Witnesses books, study books. I have The Magical House, the cleaning of your house, how to sage your home, smudge your home rather, or wipe off your walls if you can, to get rid of what you may have brought in. Like this. Here's a good example. I got this at a thrift shop. This is fake bamboo. And I got this at a thrift shop. Why? Because I like thrifting, but I haven't lately. And plus I have too much stuff. But I got it at a thrift shop. Somebody could have died, and all that was donated by the family. Do I think that there's something bad or evil attached to that? No. No. So life is what we make it, right? We choose. And I'm not always, good Lord, not always. If somebody were to die that you love, you don't choose to feel sad. That's not a choice. That's a real human emotion that's going to come out no matter what. That or you feel happy. Whichever you feel, you're going to feel, right? Right. Okay, you lose a loved pet or something. You're going to feel. But I'm not going to feel for a piece of glass and think, oh, somebody may have died, I better not go thrifting because something evil may be attached to it. And yeah, I watched The Conjuring and all of them, and I believe a place really exists. I think it's really cool to make money off of all that in real life, like they did. But who am I to say it can't be there? Not here, not in that. I don't believe in it. So if I don't believe in it, I don't believe it can walk in my door. Or with any piece of anything that I bring in my house. Now my ex, oh my gosh, my ex, he found at the thrift shop an old clown. Old, I mean really super old and ugly. And he named it Clyde and he brought it home. Loved that thing. I said, dude, I'm not into clowns, but I don't care. Just keep me in, the other room. Keep me in your room. Just keep me away. It's cool. But I don't like clowns. I just don't like clown pictures. I don't like clowns because I grew up with people who were clowns, and underneath that smile wasn't a smile. You couldn't, it's a fake face, which sometimes we have to wear while we're feeling depressed, when we're talking to friends or something. Smile so people don't know that you're feeling depressed or you're, getting ready to have a panic attack. You gotta put on that face now and then. At least I have. So I'm not into clowns. But I've watched all the movies, and I firmly believe that, and I've seen some stuff on the internet about Wiccan and stuff, about these people, Wicca, I think it goes too far. My house is haunted, then get out. because you don't know how far a hunt will go. I mean, you know, you're hearing things, things are falling, things are moving. Look, if I'm living here and I see this glass with the bamboo get up and start levitating out the door, I'm gone. I'm gone, end of story. And then I'm a believer. It's never going to happen. It's because I don't believe in it, so I don't invite it. And as a child, I had to go to seances. We had an Ouija board. My oldest sister and her then fiance would have friends come over and do seances. And you know what really got, and I thought about this for a second. Let me turn this off. I thought, here's what happened. They had our lights turned on to a timer, and they knew exactly when that timer was going to turn our lights off in the house. My mother was at work, or she would have killed us all. But they didn't let anybody know. They knew. My sister and her fiance knew. And we're all sitting on the table, and I'm the youngest, I think, the youngest. And as they were saying certain words, there's going to be this up in the attic, and we had an attic, we had a big house up in PA. We had this, and my dad had died in that house, and I think someone prior before that had died in the house, which never bothered me, really. Life goes on. I grieved my father, bless his heart, but he's my father. He would never hurt me. Would never, I don't believe in that. Okay, so anyway. They really knocked me for a loop that night. All of a sudden, whatever they said, and boom, all the lights went off. And you can't see. It was dark, and we had a German Shepherd. We kept one in the house. My mother bred German Shepherds. We kept one in the house, and she started barking just because the lights went out and people are getting noisy now. Like, oh my God. I'm like going, I need water, I need water. I thought I was going to throw up. I do that. I thought I was going to throw up. Had a real dry mouth. Then thought I was going to throw up. So they got me some water, they turned the lights on, they were laughing. And I'm still sitting there thinking, why are they laughing? We just had, they called on something and it happened and they're laughing and this is true, this really exists, no one's going to believe us. What are we doing? What am I doing here? I'm just a kid. They said they set the timer up. It didn't make a difference. In my mind, it didn't make a difference. You see, I hung on to that. I hung on to that. Before they set the timer up, I also had a brother who was run over by a school bus before I was born. Thank God, before I was born. My poor mother and father. He drank himself to death, my mom said after that. But I remember them saying his name a few times before the night that they were setting up the timers and doing all that BS. And we would always end up, my mother didn't get off work till midnight. She was the main operator, 911 and all, for our town. And we would always end up outside the house, sitting across the street in the neighbor's front yard, waiting for my mother, looking at our house. And of course it'd be my bedroom window. You see that shadow? And I'd be looking and say, yeah, I think I do. Because they were convincing me that I did. You know, I was young. I mean, I was young. So, there you go. From religion to this, right? But this is also, hey, people rely on their Ouija boards to talk to the dead. So they claim they were playing games. It never happened. As hard as they tried, and we all had to put little fingers on, somebody always moved it to spell out something, or to say yes or no. I remember them quite well. It never worked. Not in our house, and they were serious. They were trying at that time. But then when they found out they couldn't really make anything happen, they started rigging and setting things up. That got me. That got me, and then their friends. But their friends could leave the house and go home. I couldn't. I had to live there, which made life a little scary at times. I was a kid. But I grew out of that and got over it and said, Ouija boards? Really? Look, factory makes an Ouija board. It's nothing more than a damn toy. You know, they make them. It's man-made. You really think you can pull powers out of a Ouija board? I'm quite sure. Again, I seen it on YouTube years ago in Wicca. They think they can. We couldn't. I tried it with my girlfriends many years later. We couldn't. We tried. Somebody was always pushing the shit and ended up laughing and confessed. And nothing ever happened. We couldn't pull anything out of it. Then we got into the cards. My neighbor, she was, oh God, like a 60-some-year-old woman. And that was like in my late 20s or early 30s. And she'd be reading cards all day long. And she didn't like anybody. Sadly, I had lived next door to her for a while. And I would pull up and I would get out of the car. And again, I didn't go far because I was going to get tests done to see what the heck's going on upstairs. So, and it didn't progress like it is now. Yeah, that's true. So you pull in, you get out, and she'd say, I read the cards, you know, and she'd yell, something's gonna happen to, and she'd say a name, and I would just kind of do this. Didn't want to hear the name, don't want to hear anything, and walk away from her. And that woman had a horrible death in the end. You know, keep messing around with that crap. She had a horrible death in the end. She bled out. I remember seeing her crawl on her porch. She was a hoarder. She lived on soda. She lived on her porch. We called 911 one time because we thought she had died because the smell was horrible. But it was something dead in a bucket in the backyard, they said. She was alive and she was mad that night that the EMTs and stuff would show up. But, you know, she came out and she was fine, except she was super bloated. Just bloated in the stomach area, but skinny everywhere else. And I seen her crawling on her porch, and I remember calling the police one night to come do a wellness check, and they did. And if you deny and you're of sound mind, which apparently to them she was, because they said, and they left, she called a cab that night, the neighbors on the other side said, and went to a hotel and died in the hotel bed that night down the road. So she was suffering. She had a horrible death. They, you know, they knocked on the door, no answer, knock, and they had a key, they go in, and the neighbor described it as there was just blood all over the bed, and she was dead. You know, she probably really believed in what she was doing, and you know, I don't know what she did to herself. I know she didn't eat right. I know she didn't live right. I know she wasn't clean. She probably had gotten hurt, maybe developed a bad infection in her stomach. Maybe she had cancer. I'll never know. And that's okay with me. She didn't like anybody. I'll never know. But, you know, I don't, you know, that was her thing. Those damn cards. You know, oh, this came up, and oh, that, just stop. And I often told her to hush, leave it alone. So I don't go there where my ex does. Not tarot cards, but he believes in ghosts. Good Lord, we've been through that in this house. And I said, well, the day I see one, or something move, or levitate, or, you know, something really messed up happens, is the day I'm gone out of here, and I'll commit my own self. You know? It's not going to happen, because my brain is already too full with depression and shit, that's not going to happen. The people waste time doing this to people, and people start believing in it. It's okay to believe in nature. Nature is soothing. Like, it's called foresting. You go into the forest where it's all oxygen and you breathe in the clean, fresh air. I get it. But what I don't get is when they go in the forest and they chant and they dance around trees and weeds and bushes, and they're calling on whatever. and it's coming down and something's happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. Why? Because I've been through it. I've been through it. And my friend Lindsay, I'm like, well, you have the altar, and you have the a big altar and her huge walk-in closet. It's beautiful with everything. I said, what do you do? She says, well, I cast spells. I'm like, whoa, you shouldn't mess around with that. I said, you shouldn't even try to mess around with that. First of all, I don't allow you to cast a spell on me. I don't allow anybody to cast a spell on me. Anything wicked, anything good. I don't allow it. She said, well, it's kind of like in the movies, you know. A vampire can't enter your home unless, I remember this perfectly, a vampire can't enter your home unless you say, come on in, let him in. You don't know it's a vampire. Well, since you said that you will not allow anybody, me or anybody, to cast a spell on you, we can't do that. And we're not allowed to cast bad spells because it comes back like, what, 3-fold, 7-fold, 20 million-fold, whatever. That person may get theirs, but you're sure as hell going to get yours. Is the universe that evil? No. People are. The universe is not that evil. To even sit there and try to make somebody believe, and that was my problem with Wiccan. The whole Wicca thing. I still have the books, I still read them and go through them and say, casting a love spell for your friend? For a particular guy too. Not just any guy, but a particular guy. He may be married. Goes against the rules of nature. Goes against the laws of nature. Goes against God. It goes against every principle and everything. Can't happen. You cannot cast a spell for a married man to fall in love with you, marry you, and live happily ever after. It will not happen. My belief. So, while I battle depression, while I battle agoraphobia, while I battle, yeah, I could talk, my anxiety issues, and while I have a trigger for PTSD, which doesn't pop out much at all, thank God. Toss religion in there. I believe in a higher being. It's my choice. And I respect whatever anybody else believes in. But I don't want them shoving it down my throat in real life. If I chose to listen to it on the internet, I'll listen to it on the internet. This is what I'm going to do. Yeah. Other than that, I don't believe that, you know, you can go to a store where a factory made, and probably poor little kids in China, for God knows how much money, pennies, nickels, made in the Ouija board, and you think you're going to pull something out of that. I got better luck pulling a rabbit out of my ass. I'm sorry. My belief. And stuff all that. I'll say that okay, so I'll say that oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, I don't think that my medication is really doing what it should be doing. I don't know, it must be the dogs. I heard something fall. It's one of their bones, because they're all over the floor, so they're so I and my one dog opened the door, so he's a pain in the butt. It's cute, my little dachshund mix. Where was I? Right, that's the thing. I did get on the phone with my doctor yesterday afternoon, and he called me back, or I made a call in yesterday afternoon. I got a call back today. It seems like I'm going to want a more sedating antidepressant. I said, because look, I can just go out there in the world and I can give a speech. You know, I could probably go out there and be one of the best car salesmen right now in the world. I can just talk all day long. He says, you have cabin fever, hon. You know, you're stuck in your home. You go shopping with your mask, your glasses, your gloves. You wipe everything off when you come home. There's COVID-19. I'm in one of the worst states, of course. And you're not doing what you normally would try to work on. You're not seeing friends. You're just talking and FaceTiming and all that. So he's true. I said, but still. He said, yes, we can try something else that's more sedating. Because my Luvox is, he don't want to take it any higher. But he said, it's not touching me. It's not touching me. So, here we go again on the merry-go-round ride of medications. I don't like medications. I really have anxiety. Does anybody else ever get anxiety when you start a new pill of any sort? I do. After I take it, I have a mini panic attack. And then when I find out an hour later there was no reaction, I'm fine. Yeah. Because I don't do penicillin. I can't do penicillin or sulfa drugs or anything like that. Z-Pak. Whew, I had strep throat one time. I tried to do Z-Pak. I forget how many you have to take at first, but I did. And I felt a little upset stomach. They said eat. Okay, I ate. And then the next round, I was throwing up, and oof, I felt sicker than I was supposed to feel better. And that was because I had strep throat. And I got it from my daughter. And so I can't take that. So the drugs are a little iffy with me. But my blood pressure shot up when I ended up in the hospital. Panic attack put me there. A panic attack put me there. And when I went in, I could not calm down because I hated being there. Anyway, but knew I had to be there. It was way too high. I was in Stroke City. Way too high. They kept me overnight just because, and to check. So I went through nuclear medicine, and they determined, first of all, my heart rate. My heart, and I have a treadmill, and I walk it. I won't run, because the heart rate was going way high. Now it can't go as high because the medication won't let it, but it's a pill that is for blood pressure, but another good thing that it does for you is it will keep your heart rate lower. So my heart rate was always running about the 90s, high 90s. In bed at night sleeping, I would feel it pounding all the time, and I would take my pulse, and I learned how to count and figure that out. They told me how to do that, and it would be running in the 80s when I'm resting. They said that's not good. You need to exercise more. I said I can't. My heart rate's going up too high. I'm out of breath too quick, and I feel it pounding in my chest, and I have a panic attack. It's a ball and chain effect. So they put me on a drug. That's pretty mild. I'm not having any. In the beginning, all I wanted to do was sleep, and that was not good because I have animals to take care of and a life to live, some sort of a life, and it wore off. After about 2 months, the sleepiness wore off, and but the heart rate stayed down. The heart rate stayed down. So that makes me feel better that, hey, my heart's getting a rest, you know? My heart's getting a rest from running high all the time. My ex has a thyroid problem. My thyroid gets checked all the time, and it's always coming back fine. He has a thyroid problem, and they were able to tell that just by looking at him. Pretty much, I think. Or, no, feeling it. It was really big and swollen. And so he went for labs, and it was all messed up, and he's on medication for his thyroid because before that his heart rate was super, super high. He was running in the hundreds. I'm like, what the heck's wrong with us? I'm like, too much. I stopped Pepsi, and this is good advice, a nutritionist. I stopped Pepsi, and I can only see the nutritionist a couple times. I couldn't afford her over and over, so I got what I needed. Plus the hospital was very helpful. Stop your Pepsi, because Pepsi, Coke, Mountain Dew, because we used to cram. Yeah, we used to cram back in college. I went through college, believe it or not, and it was hard to get through. But Mountain Dew kept us awake most of the night, so we can cram for tests, and loaded with caffeine. So now my guilty indulgence is chocolate. And if I stop chocolate cold turkey, I get angry, I get mad at myself, I have depression, walk in my door no matter what. It just comes in. Until I eat a piece of chocolate, I feel normal again. So now I'm on 95% dark chocolate, and not Hershey. I think it's LINDT or something like that, Lint or something. I don't even. Dark chocolate. It tastes like dirt, but I'm getting what I need. So cutting out all this stuff, which stimulates me, probably has helped me a lot, although I don't feel it. But if I go back on it, I can only imagine. Because I could tell when I missed my Valium. Ah, you missed your Valium, you're starting to get shaky. I don't even need a clock. I just know. My body tells me, because I'm dependent on it. So, that's today. I always get off track and start talking about other things, because there's so much to say about depression, because it's a killer. You know, I thought of Robin Williams the other night, and how he always made me laugh. And he was a comedian. Oh, I didn't know he was battling depression. I guess just never read about it or heard about it on the news. I didn't know until, you know, he hung himself. I didn't know he was battling depression. I couldn't tell. There's one movie that I watched, I don't know if it was his last movie, it was called The Angriest Man in New York, I think. And I watched it a couple times, and I watched him, and he played an angry man so good. He really, really played an angry man so good. I thought, he's either a hell of an actor, or he feels angry. I thought it, you think it, because when you have depression, you can kind of pick up something a little bit, see it, you can see it. You can see the fake laugh, the fake smile. You know, I had somebody one day say to me, you know, you would be so much prettier if you would just smile once in a while. I'm like, oh crap, didn't know I wasn't doing it. Didn't know. So, trying to get me, here's a few things. The whole religion thing and any illness, they work if you believe. If you don't believe, it'll work, because it's your decision. It's a personal decision. I firmly believe it works. I prayed as a young girl, and I wasn't selfish. I didn't pray to win the lottery. I didn't pray for a pretty car. I prayed what the rest of my family had, and I did not yet. A horse. And that was where I found my peace and tranquility, at the barn with my horse for many, many years. That was it. It's all I wanted to do. I went to school and I did that and hung out with my friends. We had horses. My friends had horses. And if they didn't, the barn would let them rent a horse. Sometimes, here's a pony, take it and go. And we would, that was it. So after that, I said, I just started praying and believing, and the biggest thing I wanted came to me, and health. And I had my health. And I had my health. Yeah, so that's where I go with any illness and religion. And I know you can be the biggest believer in the world and be battling, say, some type of bone cancer or something. It's not going to work, and that breaks my heart for anybody. But it's not about God. God's not doing it to you. You know, maybe we waited too long. Maybe we didn't know we had it. Like that car wreck is not our fault. Somebody hit us or we hit somebody. That's our fault. We're in control of the situation. Right? God put us here. Now do your best and live. I don't know. If I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody sooner or later will chime in and say, oh my God. Or not say, oh my God. Say she's a nut. And I'm a nut. So, it can be a nut. But, that's where I am. Long video. It's still going, thank God. Okay. On that note, I've had a better day today. Because it rained. Rain keeps people in their houses. It's not that I'm antisocial. I like people who are more like me, which is probably not a good thing when you get a bunch of depressed people out together. You know what I mean? Because everybody's trying to cheer everybody up and it's not working. It's just like, God. So, but I like people who get it then. How's that? Yeah. But people who are battling mental illness is what I really steer towards, because I understand I have it and I get it. I can't relate to somebody who has, you know, what would it be? Parkinson's disease. I would feel bad, and I know they have it, but I couldn't understand it because I don't live it. So I get mental illness. That's what I get because that's what I have. On that note, I'm going to try to turn this off because it's sitting up at my window and I don't want it to fall like I did the other day, and then it went dead. Okay, so thanks for listening to me ramble on, and I'll keep bringing the videos and go outside, and I was going to go outside, but I don't think the camera's going to like the rain. Have a good day, stay safe, and I have a friend on here who's really cool, and I hope you're doing very well. Take care. Bye-bye.